we started Islamic Finance in 1983 in Malaysia, we have an issue of getting a scholars. We realized that having a scholars with muamalat or with Islamic studies background, they never had an opportunity to study the technical. The vision was basically to cover the crossbreed of professionals. I think we also need people of various disciplines to understand Islamic finance.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is Hashir, your host from the Binoria Media English channel. Islamic finance has been a leading topic of discussion around the world, with the sukuk market significantly increasing over the past decades, just 140% from 2010 to 2020. Islamic finance represents not just an opportunity, but a transformative dream for Muslims worldwide and for anyone seeking to engage in a more ethical way of investment. Today we have a really special and knowledgeable guest with us, Brother Makhtar Abdullah, who made his way all the way from Malaysia. He is the CEO of the Association of Islamic Advisors in Islamic Finance, also known as ASAS. Assalamu alaikum, brother. How are you doing?
Warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, Hashir. Thanks a lot for inviting me. We're a pleasure to be here.
Delighted to have you here.
Yeah.
How are you?
Alhamdulillah. I arrived yesterday from Dubai after a conference. I take a good rest this morning and have the opportunity to talk to some of the Malaysian students over here.
Oh, that's nice.
Hearing about the story, hearing about the challenges here, as well as their hope for Islamic finance opportunity in Malaysia. It's good to engage with them. At least we have a different view altogether.
No, that's really nice. We definitely we're delighted to have you, and it's a great opportunity for us students to get a different, diverse view from advisors like you yourself.
Inshallah.
Can you give us an insight of your organization, ASAS? How you guys operate, and what roles do you play in Malaysia?
ASAS technically was established in 2011.
2000.
Yeah, when we started Islamic Finance in 1983 in Malaysia, we have an issue of getting a scholars to advise the industry. So after the first 10 years of testing of Bank Islam Malaysia Berhad, or BIMB, the first bank in Malaysia, we realized that there are areas that we need to grow. And after that first 10 years in 1993, other players are also coming up to introduce their Islamic banking windows with the approval from the Central Bank of Malaysia. Then we realized that we don't even have the scholars or the advisors to advise the colorful industry, the colorful shareholders, for the colorful products. Though we have our National Shariah Shariah Advisory Council at the national level, but they cannot go down to the institutional level. Yes. So we have that two-tier governance from the beginning of the early inception of Islamic finance. So the Central Shariah Advisory Council will look at the national level, and we have the Shariah Committee, or to some people called Shariah Board, the respective institution. So the setting up of the Shariah Board or Shariah Council in Malaysia come in two forms. For those who are licensed under Bank Negara Malaysia, the appointment are from the institution.
From the institution itself.
The institution itself. They have the requirement for licensing purposes to have 3 or 5 depending on their type of license. But for capital market, which are regulated under Securities Commission of Malaysia, the appointment of Shariah advisors or Shariah board are at the product level. Yeah, so there are 2 different appointment and under 2 different licensees.
And 2 different products offering too.
Yes, of course. Of course, under Bank Negara, the licensees, the operators who operate banking, takaful, and also development are licensed under Bank Negara. And those who are on the Islamic capital markets are licensed by Securities Commission. So we realized that having a scholars with muamalat or with Islamic studies background, they never had an opportunity to study the technical. accounting, legal, risk,
Yes.
so many things.
Yes.
And on the other side, we have a technical people who went through the technical path from day one until the PhD or whatever in accounting or in finance or in banking.
Yes.
We need to make sure that they crossbreed.
Yeah, there's a balance between the both.
Not only balance, but also a fair understanding
on both sides.
On both sides. That is number one. So ASAS was entrusted by the central bank to introduce a program, what we call a crossbreed program.
Okay.
Where the people with Islamic study background will study more technical. The people with technical background will study more classical Islamic.
So it's quite literally a crossbreeding program.
So now the accountant can talk about the difference between the mazhab, the usul fiqh.
Yes.
And the scholars can now understand and talk about accounting.
And legal, talk about the legalities
and risk and economy, you name it. That is number one. Number two, we also realize that if the scholars with religious studies background talk about accounting to their community or their fraternity, the sample used are more applicable to that respected community. And the accountant, when they talk about fiqh mu'amalat or usul fiqh, to the accountant, they use the right sample.
They use the right examples,
the right sample
for the right crowd.
For the right crowd. We used to hear that people normally use the slaughtered chicken.
Yeah.
So what is the accounting treatment? What are the risks for slaughtered chicken? What are the economic effect of the slaughtered chicken? Vice versa. So now the example used are more practical or more applicable to their respective circle. That is number two. Number three, the majority of the Shariah committee in Malaysia are lecturers. So they never had an opportunity to deep dive into the real banking capital market operation. So they rely on books. Sometimes books are a bit backdated.
They are. So especially with such a growing market.
Exactly.
They don't
very fast.
Yeah.
The market are very fast. You just quoted a numbers of 140% over 10 years.
Over 10 years.
So when we had a program for the lecturers who are also serving in our industry as the Shariah committee, they bring back the latest knowledge to the classroom. And at the end, the university, there are about 39 universities in Malaysia that teaching Islamic finance, will produce more marketable graduates. That understand the real needs of the demand.
Acceptable to the people in the masajid and in society generally.
Exactly. So basically that is what ASAS is doing since the inception in 2011 and until 2016, 2017, we have the support from the central bank as well as other talent entities in Malaysia by the name of Yayasan Peneraju and also MARA, where they give scholarships to those who pursue our program. The syllabus in our program are basically a combination of a few components.
Okay.
We take into consideration the content in the IOFI CSAA or CIPA.
Okay.
Yeah. We also take into consideration that we have a colorful students study in various countries, in Medina, in Al-Azhar, in Jordan, in Kuwait. And also the law or the governance that issued by Bank Negara Malaysia. So we have all that, and then we come up with a syllabus which are very much 70% to 80% practical and the remaining 20% of theoretical. So that's what we are doing.
So practicality, which is the most important part, of course. You guys understand that and give it preference accordingly.
So you can get that theoretical knowledge or academic knowledge or research knowledge in the universities. But when it comes to the real application,
it's a totally different world.
Totally different.
No, that's really, really good to hear. And since 1980s, till now, that's a really, really long time. And
the industry started in Malaysia in 1983. But ASAS was incorporated in 2011.
But 2011, more than a decade of experience. So you probably had a vision then when you started the company, and I'm sure you probably surpassed that. But there's need for more individuals like you, especially with the growing Islamic financing market, what vision do you have? Do you have in mind to maybe portray your vision globally? And
the next move.
What's the next move?
I was not part of the earlier setup of ASAS.
Okay.
I joined ASAS in 2018, basically to restructure ASAS.
To restructure it as your background in accounting and law.
Yes.
Okay.
So there's a need for that kind of restructuring. I was lucky because the previous CEO, the previous directors and the board directors, ExCo has already properly structured ASAS. So it was quite easy for me.
Okay.
And now when you go to the orchard, the fruit are already there.
The fruits are already there.
The tree, the fence are all clean.
Yeah.
So I just focusing on getting more fruit and also selling it. So much easier. Alhamdulillah, it's a rizki to me. The vision was basically to cover the crossbreed of professionals.
Okay.
Because we don't want to be continue to hear people saying that Islamic finance only copycat or copy paste of what the conventional is offering. We have gone through beyond that. There are products which are not available in the conventional side but available in Islamic side. They are also saying that Islamic finance are expensive. No, we have again crossed that bridge. Some Islamic finance products are technically cheaper. We have managed to get the trust from the Muslim and the non-Muslim.
For both.
For both, regardless as our consumer or as our workforce. You know, previously people used to ask, if I were to work in Islamic financial institution, do I supposed to be a Muslim? Right? If I want to take Islamic finance products, for example, or services or takaful, is that only for Muslim? No, I think we have managed to portray the wider acceptance of people. Alhamdulillah. So we will continue doing that. And in Bank Negara Malaysia financial framework for 2023 to 2026, ASAS has been asked to cover Asia and also OIC country. So this is why I'm here.
Happening.
This is where I'm out talking to people, trying to understand
the problems.
The problem, because we can't offer similar thing that we are offering in Malaysia.
Different market, different people.
The sea is different, the fish is different.
100%.
So inshallah, we will continue to understand the global demand. We will continue to provide the right tailor-made program for international market, working together with other affiliates. We'll be working with IOFI, BIBF as a standard setting body, and also in association in Turkey, in Kazakhstan, and many countries. So inshallah, we are listening while we are also providing something,
and,
inshallah.
Putting something on the table constantly. So from your traveling around the world and just you being in the industry for a number of years, what are some common misconceptions that you hear that could maybe help our viewers clear their minds? Like you said earlier, many people think it's a copy and paste with the general market. So what are some common ones you hear? And for someone viewing not really familiar with the Islamic financing part, what would you suggest them to get into?
I think we have gone through almost, in Malaysia itself, we have gone through more than 50 years of history. We started from a very scratch. We went through a lot of try and error. We have improvised a lot. Now even there are a lot of books and references that people can read.
Any suggestions?
There are books produced by INSEF or ISRA in Malaysia. And there are also books produced by other universities in UK. I can name a few of them. I may miss some.
So turn to
that is number one. Number two, I think we also need people of various disciplines to understand Islamic finance, so that they can explain rightly, giving the right example, and clarify the real issues among their respected fraternity. Because at the end of the day, these are the professionals who will go out to Ummah.
100%.
Imagine you have an accountant or an auditor,
Yes.
not having a clear picture of Islamic finance, and explaining about Islamic finance to their community. Of course, there'll be a further misconception. We
true.
now have a ChatGPT and AI that people can rely on.
Yes.
Are we ready to counter, or are we ready to provide the option of answers beyond that? So these are the challenges of the current and the next generation that should take us Islamic finance to the next level.
Islamic financing, of course, growing year by year. Many youngsters, including students in our university, look into this field quite deeply. So what suggestions would you have, and what recommendations would you give them to get into this market?
I've been telling people sometimes, especially students, assuming that understanding about finance is a knowledge about math. Regardless of what background they're from. If I ask you 2 + 2 or 4 + 4, everyone would know. So imagine that similar knowledge, a similar level of knowledge spread across everyone. So I think the issue of riba or non-riba is quite clear-cut already. But now we have to go deeper into the real transaction, either for investment purposes, or either for deposit purposes, or either for financing purposes. Just imagine that again, finance knowledge is as equal as the mathematical knowledge. So everybody knows about it.
No, so it's you suggest, like you said, the cross-breeding part.
Yes.
So the knowledge of Islamic financing, would that be enough for someone to get into this field or start looking towards it, or do you think there's something required in terms of the financing world, a degree in finance, or?
As the name suggested, ASAS, in any knowledge, in any language, or Arabic, or maybe I don't know about Urdu or about in Malay, ASAS means basic. So ASAS means basic, mean foundation, mean principle that people will have to understand. What we can offer to you is the strong principle and basic. Is for you to leapfrog and jump into the area that of your preference. You don't need to have all the tools in your box if you only want to turn
just screw a little, tighten a little screw.
Tighten up the screw. So it depends on the skill and the needs and the tool that you would require. So it would suffice for you to learn, to practice, to learn and to practice, because whether you like it or not, you will face financial issues when you want to buy a house, buy a car, whatever it is, saving or investment. So that very asas or basic knowledge is important to everyone.
To every Muslim,
everyone,
every human,
Muslim.
Honestly.
I think the third question when we ask after our death is also where you get your asset, how you get your asset, and how do you
build wealth, and how was it used?
So that is a question that we're supposed to answer. So be prepared with the...
Be prepared. That's what the world's from, right?
Exactly. The lead question.
That's one of the biggest. Inshallah, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make all that easy for us. And so you coming in Binoria, how did you like Binoria in general, and Binoria International University? How was it like meeting the local Malaysian students?
I had a short interaction with them. They mentioned to me again on how they can continue their path in Islamic finance. So I told them that we will have to continue into more engagement, so that I can explain to them about the reality. I have to differentiate to them between the classical muamalat and the application of
the application part.
Based on the ruling and the law and the regulation available. And from then on, maybe I would be able to direct not only them but other students all over the world. I've been talking to people in Madinah, in Al-Azhar as well.
Okay. Oh, so no.
So on what they should be prepared.
How they should prepare themselves for this industry.
Yeah, be prepared. There's a demand, cake are big for them.
Yeah.
There's always opportunity. There's always a new form of finance.
Yeah.
Now we are talking
always room for growth.
We are talking about digital banking. We are talking about digital asset.
Yeah.
We are talking about so many things now that would require the fresh mind for the fresh futures.
Yeah.
And Ummah, inshallah.
Yeah, inshallah.
Yeah.
Well, it was really nice having you, Brother Makhtar. Inshallah, we welcome you to Pakistan.
Yeah.
And we thank you for giving us your precious time.
My pleasure. It's an honor to be here. Thank you very much for the opportunity. And inshallah, I hope I have clarified a few things. Yeah. And Allah knows better of the right answer. Wallahu a'lam bisawab. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. And thank you.
And that was Brother Makhtar Abdullah from Malaysia. And inshallah, we will see you guys in the next episode. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.